Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom. We are going to talk of GANIT Vidya, the science of divine mathematics as designed by nature, not man-made mathematics as we know today, which is confusing, misleading the world. The entire emphasis on to go back to divine mathematics with which the perfect objects of the entire universe are designed and created from the very beginning itself. Unless until we know divine mathematics, we will not be able to understand the perfection of each and everything. The emphasis in Akhand Vidyashram is to know Ganit Vidya as the fourth concept of Mantra Vidya, Yantra Vidya and Tantra Vidya and complete the science in inclusive mathematical design. Without inclusive mathematical design, you can never understand divine nature because all the information which is in the mind of a man-made concepts has created confusion from the beginning till date. And now I am trying to rectify those problems, bring forth what we know, why it's defective, and what should be done, and particularly from Vijayadashmi Day, 12th October 2024. We are going to start a new series of Mahagaranth. Then we'll start before the creation, what happened during creation, and thereafter till date. Step by step, precise, concise, what we know, what is the defect, what is the perfect, and how to go and create a mathematical conclusive syllabus for every 64 subjects over a period, which could be the one which the world should read thereafter, and all the research scholars should once again start doing research in the light of DIVYANK, and that is what is the objective of my work as such. I am not pointing fingers at anybody, but I do know we have worked very hard, but we haven't used the perception which is given to the human mind as such. We are creating a concept and creating artificial intelligence and show this is the best. When somebody else and proves that is wrong, and we go on. But having done that by myself from 2015 to DIVYANK, I find this is a design which is the core perfect objects are designed and created. Now with that design, with that divine mathematics, we should restart research from beginning once again. Rectify the defects. Let's not go through the correction of the old. Let's start fresh once again. As a novice with DIVYANK, I can assure you the world would have a perfect knowledge of each and everything, and there will not be confusion for everything. And this start is done by Akhand Vidyashram, Shibhushan Sharma. And let's move on as a unit team independently on self. I do not believe in any religion, political system, other thing. All of us at our own convenience, at our own time, we can add value and move on. And that should be the success of education. Let us educate for everybody with the same knowledge. And that's it. From that angle, my dharma, my righteousness is impeccable wisdom, which we try to our best not to have any fault whatsoever. Impeccable means is impeccable, flawless, integrated, perfection to the core. That is what is my adharma. My greatest discovery is DIVYANK, and that is designed by the first stage of creation by 22 by 21, 10th stage of development, and 0.344 as the 5 digits of maturation, and the perfect design of 1.618034, which is the most approximate value of DIVYANK ratio, and every concept from A to Z fits into this. And I am glad I had the pleasure of reaching this level over education of more than 60 years. And with this, let's start divine journey of redesigning the whole thing one by one. And let's make an earnest attempt that from Vijayadashmi of 12th October 2024, we are going to start a Mahagaranth of Sindhu Akhand Sutra as such, with as much precision as possible. If there are defects which is found to be realized, will be corrected as we move on. But my desire is to go for impeccable wisdom, not to make a mistake on my own. If there are technical mistakes, other thing will also let correct it. But let's accept mistakes apart, but they are not intentionally done. They should be corrected as we realize that mistake. And I expect everybody to tell me from that onward, if there is a mistake, let's correct it, leave behind in comment form so the world understands how we have evolved from perfection to higher and higher level level. Many people say horizon is our thing, but I would start from horizon to go higher and thereafter. And that's it. Now, coming to the divine mathematics, I do believe every object in the universe was created by design very meticulously, superficially fantastic. And I'm glad the Brahmans of Akhand Bharat, and I'm very clear, Brahmans of Akhand Bharat, who were enclosed in the land of rising space between Sindhu river on the left side, Himalayas on the right side, and Sindhu Mahasagar on the bottom. In that enclosure is what the wisdom appeared from the very beginning itself. These were the people who were in tune with universal consciousness. They were in tune with Akash Kosh. They knew exactly the universal consciousness. They perceived it directly, called Shruti, then converted into mantras, then converted to yantras, converted to tantras, and also realized the beauty of mantra which they gave it. But unfortunately, that aspect of divine mantra in totality was given by only Brahmins little by little in the beginning itself, from Ved, Upanishad to other things. Now come to the stage. The divine mathematics which was started by this, and here one thing which I would like to know. Mathematics, as we know, is man-made concepts, not divine. That's it. And to start with, the fact that zero was unknown to the West till 6th century, whereas Indian knew it very well from the day one. Before the creation, it was Shunya, and mention of there is there in Rig Veda itself. And talk of 10, 100, 1000, 10,000, 1 lakh, etc. has been in India from the very beginning. India knew it very well, but they gave that knowledge as such to the world. The first generation of outsiders, this land of Sindhu Akhand Bharat, was Zoroastrians, which we call Parsis today. They came from Iran, learned from Brahmins, they became masters, and they followed the system in almost every way which was akin to Brahmins of India, the intellectual. I am talking about intellectual. I am not talking of Brahmins by birth. Anyone who understands divine mathematics, who is in tune with Brahman, is a true Brahmin. By birth, you do not become a Brahmin. Let's make it very clear. And anyone born in any section, any part of the world, can become a Brahmin if he starts thinking of knowing the impeccable wisdom and move on to impeccable wisdom is a Brahman. So Zoroastrian learned it from Brahman. When they went back to Iran, they taught the same thing to Arabs. So Arabs learned Indian mathematics from Zoroastrians. But Arabs were smart enough. And let me tell you one thing very clearly. Arabs started a concept of converting ancient Indian wisdom of mathematics into man-made mathematics. Then the first thing which appeared were algorithms, then algebra, and then mathematics as we know. And they learned that and they taught the same thing to the West. When West learned it from Arabs, they modified it further and made it to man-made concept. Further, they patented it. And West taught man-made mathematics to the world as the science we know today of mathematics, physics, chemistry, and all the other subjects is based on man-made mathematics. And I make it very clear, even Nobel laureates who get Nobel prizes throughout the world, their work is being countered by subsequent Nobel laureates itself. Forget about the common man. Person who is considered the greatest scientist over a period finds that his work is not complete, somebody finds fault with that and then go on. What does it mean? It means all the concepts which mathematicians of the world, scientists of the world, is only a process of finding the truth, but they have not found the truth. But their effort to find the truth has given them knowledge step by step, little better than the earlier. So that way they need to be respected for their conscientious contribution towards science. But now that I have found that DIVYANK is the answer based as on today from 2015, I think we can restart the search from DIVYANK rather than continue to do the research which is done there. I think I expect all the future scientists of the world, let them restart my work as a concept to start with. I have brought it to a level which is beyond anybody's comprehension and today. It was not known. But having known, don't you think it's fair on our part that we start the research once again with DIVYANK, DIVYANK constant, DIVYANK ratio, DIVYANK sequence, and show the world. And this particular video is a reflection of the beauty of DIVYANK and the mind which is into universal consciousness, how mathematics is designed into symbol form, into mantra, yantra, tantra, all you are going to see in the process just as a trial. Now, we need to bring the deficiencies of modern science in every form to results with DIVYANK. My request to everybody is, now start taking DIVYANK, start this process. Let's restart the whole process of research in such a way that we have impeccable wisdom thereafter. This is for the world's unity. I want world peace. I don't want anybody to be divided in the name of anything in the world, whether it's a religion, politics, nature, sand, other thing. We are human beings. We are same. We should think of humanity as such. Only then we can take care of other things as the guardians, custodians, or Lokpalans of the universe, for which the human beings have been given the mathematical concepts, brain of the highest order, which is not found in any other animal. If that is our truth, let's all rise to that level. Why should we at a lower level? I think we should go, and that is what DIVYANK is talking about. Let's move on to the next stage. As I told you very thing, zero, evolution of zero number. Let's start. Zero is an empty number quantity. That's what is written. I'm talking about how the science is talking about. I'm not talking about myself. This is what is written in the name of zero. Adding zero to any number leaves that number unchanged. That means if zero is before, it has no difference. But zero afterwards has a meaning. In mathematical terms, zero is additive identity of integers, rational numbers, real numbers and complex numbers, as well as other algebraic structures. This is what world has been taught about it. Multiplying any number by zero has the result zero, and consequent division by zero has no literal meaning in arithmetic. These are the descriptions which are given. And I do know all the numerals of the world, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It came from 0 and up to 6 and you did not know. But once you start from 0, you will find mathematics much better, perfect by and large. Now in Sanskrit, it is called Shunya, emptiness, a dot, which could be expanded into a circle and also to a sphere. That's the beauty of Sanskrit language. It is called zero as Shunya only. It is empty, it is dot, and it can be expanded as a circle and sphere in 3 dimensions. That's it. Arabics called it cipher. Cipher is also known in India as a zero. It is also empty. Latin and Greek it called Zephyrus is also term created by the Italian character Zephyrus, zero. French and English called from 1598 as zero. How the zero came to be known as zero is how I am talking about. But French and English have known. But you see in this particular thing, in Sanskrit there was no Shunya. I have not put any date. But English have put a date at 1598 AD. That means British was not aware of zero as such till such time. Let us accept the fact. Anyway, Now, Vedas are called Shruti. Why? Because they are directly heard, and the sound which comes from that is Akash Kosh. And Akash Kosh has all the sounds, including all the mantras, all the yantra, all the tantra. And that's what it is. In your ear, we can hear the sound of Shunya right from Akash, because the whole vibration started with that. That is the idea which I am talking about. Now, space before the creation, let's start. Rig Veda says before the creation there was andhakar, darkness, tamas, inertia into the space. Everything was known in such a way that nobody exactly knew what exactly was there. It could be darkness, it could be tamas, it could be inertia. Even gods are not aware of the content. That is what Rig Veda takes in Naisadya Shuktam. And I do believe human beings can contemplate only what it says, but I know we can find it out. Maharishi Yajnavalkya, Brihad Prashins has said, space before the creation of the universal space was filled with death. That means whatever object was there in a dead form. It means there was something which was not described earlier. Earlier it was zero, empty, darkness. That's it. But he said, no, whatever is there is in a dead form. It is in a dead form, it cannot move. But there was something before that. What is that? He did not describe it further, but he showed it was a dead state, not andhakar, darkness, tamas as such. That's a beautiful idea. Now, Shivbhushan Sharma, I know the space Akash was filled with isomers and neon 21, and I call that Atma. Now come to the zero as Atma, zero as a cipher, and everything came out of Atma is what I see in Ved, Upanishads and all the scriptures throughout the world, that everything has come from Atma, and Atma cannot be cut, cannot be burnt, cannot be wet, cannot be dissolved, cannot be extinguished, cannot be destroyed at all. But where do you see the reflection of Atma? In elemental form. And I see that only in noble gases. Whether it's helium or neon or argon, xenon or krypton. These are ones which have stable thing which can remain as well without any change. And I also want to make it very clear from my experience, for me Atma is not an abstract idea. It is an element of noble gases. My indwelling soul is made of helium-4, which comes from sun god. I am also aware of second Atma within me of neon 21 of Gayatri, which comes from spiral galaxy. I also know, I am aware of the third thing called Adi Prashakti, which is the goddess of Mahag Brahman, which is argan 40. Now with these three Atmas within me, having been closely associated with them from my childhood till today, I am guided only by these three Atmas. Helium, which is Aditi, neon 21, which is Gayatri, and argan 40, which is Adi Prashakti. They give me the answers better than anything else. And their answers I try to verify in the light of the known mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology and other subjects, and then try to eliminate to the question which is perfect from every angle. That search for perfection, search for impeccable wisdom from my childhood till today has brought me to DIVYANK. And that is all what I am sharing with. And this is my perception based on my experience, and that I am putting it across. That was space before, and that Atma is what zero is all about, from which all GANIT VIDYA started. It was Shunya, it was a dead matter, but people did not perceive. But I know the shape of all these elements is square only, spherical, circle or dot. That's it. Now come to the question of, as I explained, there is an ancient Indian description of Atma. It cannot be burnt, cut, dissolved and destroyed. It is eternal, blissful, omniscient. This is what Veds and Upanishads of India talk about as Atma, the soul, the self within us. And I say it is an inert matter, and it is helium-4 or neon 21 or argon 40. That's it. It has to be inert matter which cannot be dissolved, cut and otherwise. And that is possible only with noble gases, not possible with anything else. Even other things have to become stable to become ionic stage. That's also something which I have seen, experienced within my body, and it is my experience within the body that I am talking about. It is not my mindset and expression. My experience then understood scientifically step by step to the world, and what I have demonstrated is out of the world, never done in the history of mankind. So that way I do feel I am privileged to lay on record impeccable wisdom for the good to unite the entire world into peaceful education system. Now come to Akash, the universe space before the creation. Let's now start understanding, which you are going to see much better from Vijayadashmi onwards. But seeds are led from this. These are preparation longer. Thereafter it is going to be smaller, much more precise, concise in detail. Akash is the one space, universal space, before the creation. Before the creation, Vedas say, as I told you, is the darkness which is written by Rig Veda. Brihad Upanishad says it's a Mrityu. And my voice of silence, you can call it Adi Parashakti, you can call it Gayatri, you can call it Aditi. According to that, the whole process started in the beginning from Adi Parashakti of argon 40. Argon 40 had 18 electrons, 18 protons and 22 neutrons. When they dissolved, they found essence, light. From that came neon 21, which is Gayatri, from which spiral galaxy was formed. A spiral galaxy is a Brahman, whereas Bhagirathi is Mahabrahman. Adi Prashakti is the mother of Mahabrahman, whereas Gayatri is of Brahman. And Aditi is the master of my Jivatma, my physical-like structures. Let it be very, very clear from that angle. Now I am going to explain why darkness before the creation can be related with argon 40 or neon 21 as such. You can see the structure of both. Both the structure, one is argon 40, another there. In argon 40 there are 18 electrons, 18 protons and 22 neutrons. But neon 21 you have protons 10, electrons 10 and neutrons 11, and that is Gayatri. Both are light as such, and you can see they are put in a form. Unless until the form is charged, you will not see the light. It needs to be charged, collided, and that's the beauty of that. The result, darkness, is outside, but light is all inside, because all the electrons have all the three orbits of argon, or two of that, or one of Aditi, focused towards the center, and that is responsible for darkness. And I am making it very, very clear. And scientific board of inert noble gases, whether it's helium, neon, argon, are dark without charge. They become bright only and after charge. And this is, I am talking about science. I am not talking of anything which is my idea. Now come to the question of during the creation. I am now going to the creation of Mahabrahman. Argon 40, let's forget about it. I have discussed about it. But now let's come to the question of what happened in Brahmand, a spiral galaxy and solar system. We are part of that system which I call Brahmand. Now you see, spiral galaxy has 10 suns, and let's talk about one sun, and that is our sun, which comes out of that with 10 planets. So let's go to, can say, that space which came from argon 40 was neon 21. When neon 21 collided together to form neon 22, and that was the brilliant light, the light energy, which almost all the religions of the world think life came out of light, and that is the light. I would call it neon 21, brilliant effulgence to start with. You can see the structure together. With the time, its heat came down, then it formed into different elements. And the first stage which was formed for neon 21 to neon 22 to neon 20 was the first stage. From there came the other things right from hydrogen and other elements by a lot which are part of the periodic table. So that is one thing. But there is also one statement which says, after the creation of the universe, Lord Brahma, the Lord of creation, took rest for 1.5 years. That is also the wisdom which I heard ever since my childhood. But as a medical doctor, I realize then when there is a union of sperm and ovum to form zygote, and zygote takes rest for 1.5 days before division starts. Is it a coincidence or is it divine energy? I think that is the knowledge which is required for us to move on to the next world in such a way that we have impeccable wisdom one by one appearing step by step. That's it. Now there comes the question of Akhand Yantra Vidya. As I told you, Indian science of Indian symbols started from the very beginning. Singular Akash, as I know, is dot, circle, sphere, Shunya, cipher, a zero, you can see in the picture. Right to the dot is the dot black. It's complete by itself. Everything is come out of that. In 2 dimension, it is circle. In 3 dimension, is sphere. But I can tell you, it can have a multiple dimension. Let's not go into that. Let's stick to the whole thing. Started with 0, Shunya. Now I'm very clear. It started with Shunya. Now we call it 0. That is English translation, which the world knows it. But Shunya was known as a 0 from the very beginning itself. Now we are going to see the number game. Brahmi is one of the older things. In that form, you do not see 0. I agree. Let's not go into that part because they did not find the base of Hindu Sanatan Dharma. But when you come to the Hindu, the numbers start from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. The Arabic also starts from 1, 2, 3, 4. The medieval also has very numbers close. And modern numbers, as we know, are right at the bottom. You can see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, let me make one thing very clear. These modern numerals are known as Arabic numerals. But if you look very carefully, do you see them close to the Arabic numerals, which are from left to right, or the one which is Hindu from left to the right? I think left to the right as such is the closest is what you call Hindu, and I would call it Sindhu. You must be wondering why I am transferring Hindu into Sindhu, because Sindhu means beautiful, perfection, and that is the name which was designed from the very beginning. If I am going to make the new series as a Sindhu to Akhand Sutra, is to go back to original Bharat, Akhand Bharat. We started with Sindhu civilization. So you had a Sindhu river on the left side as the outer border, and Sindhu Mahasagar at the bottom as the enclosure, and Himalayas on the right side. That is the land, I would call it Sindhu land, Akhand Bharat as such. Though that's why Sindhu Akhand would be a part of Sindhu Akhand Bharat. That part which is between the Sindhu and Akhand Bharat. And this is the origin where mathematics started, and this is where this origin has come, and this is where we start once again as a Vashuguru to start once again the perfect knowledge which was given in Veda Upanishads. Once and again, in the light of modern science to the level, the world will say, this is the wisdom which is required for the world. Let that rising be stand from India only, Akhand Bharat only. I am not against anybody. We need impeccable wisdom. Let's go by that. And let's sit. Now there comes the question of way back. As I have made it very clear, I was initiated to simplified Kundalini Yoga on 1st January 1991. That was the first time I experienced my soul, Antaratma, within my body, moved from one chakra through the nadis to the forehead. That was a phenomenal experience. Gave me the idea that we can experience Atma, zero, within the body itself. That was the thing which I do not know whether anyone in the world has experienced, that within the body is what chakras, nadis and mathematics, everything is within the body. That's why I say Jivatma, Pindant, is like Brahmand, And we got to experience within the body to have the conviction. We cannot go with the external knowledge. That is outside. I want everybody to experience within the body and have the conviction out of which we can move on. And I want everybody to be realized in that form. And that is what self-realization, soul realization, Atma realization is all about. Now, between 91 to 95, I came to realize that I can produce alpha frequency of 8 Hz throughout the brain with eyes open, which no one in the world has ever done. Since I had experience within the body, I became a subject of experience and did research in 93 onwards. And within 93, when my EEG contained only 10.5 Hz alpha frequency with eyes closed, mind at rest from occipital region. But within 2 years of spiritual journey of Kundalini Yoga, I could produce alpha after opening the eyes. In the beginning, from 10.5 it slowly is becoming come down to 8. Then amplitude increased, power increased. That was the fact that was the turning point in my research work. When I did that and I produced that, and I could not find any reason why I should be doing something which no one in the world is doing. I am able to tell the neuroscientist that science is wrong, your mathematics is wrong, everything is wrong. But I had no qualifications to say what exactly is there, what is making me give impeccable wisdom from my school days to college, stand out in profile out of the world which no one will be able to ever duplicate thereafter. When I came to that conclusion, then my question could answer be Mata Vaishno Devi or Goddess Durga, because I am a devotee of them, they are female. And when I put that question, I was made to realize that you have been chosen to do this work, you are going to do it. And this picture was brought up to this, by the way, from 95 up to 97 years. Having made this particular picture, I said, I thank you very much for making me realize the beauty of animate form of gods and goddesses, symbolic representation of India. They are wonderful. You have helped me to convert that also into semi-animate, wonderful. But how did it happen? And that's the time when I heard the sound from within, this is what it is. And this is how it left. But having made this, I said, you have made me understand that if you can make me convert into complete mathematical design, just with the lines and things, without any animate form, no human being, no animal, no plant kingdom. If you can make me do that, I'll become your follower for thereafter, because you are the one who had designed it. If nature is giving me, I'm in tune with nature, then nature who designed the whole thing should reveal it to me. And that is, this picture was made after that. And in 1997, after having made this particular picture, I took a decision. I'm going to follow only my Antaratma, soul, and get the answer, then verify the answer in the light of the modern mathematics, physics, chemistry, and human anatomy, or solar anatomy, or other anatomy, and see the perfection. And that is what I've been doing since 1997, substantially. And I'm glad I've come to the stage in 2015. I reached DIVYANK level. It's taken me so many years, but I think it's worth looking for that perfection step by step. Nothing happens in one day. It has taken me more than 60 years to come to this stage. And I'm sure it's not going to be that difficult hereafter, because now you have the proper theoretical knowledge. Now you can do research with this and undo the damage which is done otherwise, and start once again that way. See, like Nernst equation, log is used of 61. And I would say 61.8034 is much better than that. And there are something which I already spoken about it. The emphasis is already given. With that we do research, with that constant of DIVYANK, I can tell you, we'll have a much better equilibrium potential. We'll have perfect knowledge of the perfect objects one by one. And this is the turning point for that. Now come to the question now, how did I make Vijnan Chakra as such, how I was led to understand. As you can see in this particular picture, there is a circle. which represents 0. All the starting point is 0 in this particular number, and I'm going to show its inner part also as I proceed. But outer is 0, but that 0 has got 9 points written on this particular thing very clearly. 0 and all the 9 are from the 0. It's the first concept which I realized, that it was 0 from which, Shunya from which it started. That was first part in Vijnana Chakra. I'm sure you have realized that. Second thing is, now I was said if you want to understand 1, you divide 1 by 7. And that is what first subject of spiritual science is all about. That 7 is a divine number. It is a hidden mathematical number, wonder of wonders. And when I divide 1 by 7, I come to the number of 0.142857. Just 6 digits as such. I did not go beyond that. I said these 6 numbers I know. 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7. Then I was instructed by my Atma, the soul, to connect point 1 with 4. Right on top to the right and bottom, this. Then right and bottom to the center on the right side is 2. Then 2 to 8, 8 to 5, 5 to 7 and 7 to 1. This particular structure was designed after the instruction of my Atma. He said, you do this. First is 0, then 9 parts. Now 0.48257 is this particular stage, was the second stage, making me realize everything is designed in 7 parts only. That is realization of the Bhumi is made of 7 parts, Atal to Patal, Antariksha is made of 7 parts, and heavens are 7. And there are 7 colors of the day, 7 days, Vaivika is 7, everything is 7. Even sun, which is 0, also sits on 7 horses. So the beauty of 7 was realized at this particular stage. How beautiful. But there is something more in this particular thing which I want to talk as I move on. Now you see, there is a Shakta triangle was laid. That means 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7. But in that 3, 6 and 9 were not touched at all. That means you have to touch this with the number 3, 6 as a triangle, as you can see in the middle. Having put this particular triangle, you came to one structure which West knows as Enneagram. And they talk very high about it. And I'm glad to say even Nestle talked about 3, 6, 9 as a divine number. And I can understand, because in that division 3, 6 and 9 are not touched. So they are divine. That's beauty. I like that particular triangle of 3, 6, 9. That's it. This is Enneagram. Picture was well known and West knows this very well. And so I realized it's a beautiful thing. Now I was made, now you have put a Shakta triangle. You take the reverse of Shakta with Shakti triangle. In India, nothing is complete without Shakti. We start with the Shakti and with Shakti. So when Shakti triangle was made, so 0 was converted into 7, then 9, now is converted into 12 parts. That is with the beauty of science. Once said, whole day is made of 12 hours of the day, 12 hours of the night. There are 24. Even Gayatri Mantra is made like that. Even Mantra Shastra is made in this particular form only. So I realized that even astrology is based on 12 concepts. That realization was something out of the world for me. And I said, wow, wonderful job. If this is mathematics, this is divine mathematics, this is what we need to teach the world, so that all the confusion of unwanted, uncalled for information should be eliminated. Let this be the basis. Then as a result, all the 64 arts we can understand with one integrated knowledge of DIVYANK. That's it. Now I'm putting a dot in the middle, which is again 0, center, but this is what I call it Surya Bhagwan or the Aditya or Sun. But then I converted into graphic presentation which I call Vijnana Chakra, and this I understood that upper 5 are the 5 heads of Gayatri and lower 3 heads are Dattatreya's heads, and right in the middle you have sun and sun's light, and entire science of astronomy, astrology and A to Z, which India spoke in different forms. This gives you the impeccable wisdom of all of that. And no wonder I call it Vigyan, that means science. It's a completion of Vigyan Chakra. And I think I'm glad that I was made to understand that in just few steps way back in 1997. But then started a new journey of unfolding its application throughout the world, throughout my body, at every stage. That's it. Now I'm coming to one more thing here, that I have put a concept of DIVYANK right on top, but I converted that into graphic presentation. This was a stage done at a later date, not at 97. And 97, and even book which was published in 2002, Akhand and Essence of Universal Consciousness, this particular symbol you do not see. But this was realized later. I used it as a crown even before I realized Divyank. But in this you can see the outer one as a 22 by 21 orbit. You see 10 pentagons at 10 stage development, and you see 5 tetragons which represent 0.344, and then convert into this particular series. It's a beautiful work. Now I've been saying very clearly, the nature designed mathematically, language of nature is mathematics, mother of all science is mathematics, and whole thing should be converted into mathematics symbolic form in animate form, which was earlier done in animate and semi-animate. Now I convert it to animate form. You can see all the symbols on this side are my representation with the guidance of my soul only. That's it. Now I'm able to go to this level because I had an experience of this particular Shunya, a zero within my body and outside my body way back in 1992 itself, which was more than 32 years ago. And after experience of Kundalini Yoga in 1st January, when I did not find the right answer in any of the books, so I went to school of yoga, 4 months, 1 month of yogasana, pranayam, meditation and tratakam. And during one of the conducted meditations on chakras, it's a see a light in Muladhara chakra, then take it to Swadhisthana, then take it to Navi, take it to Anhata. When I brought it to Vishuddhi chakra, immediately I had it jerked and I found myself in white light. When I told the master who taught us yogasana that this is my experience, and instead of he understanding, he said, please don't tell others because they'll think you are gone mad. This is something which I could not understand. But anyway, I'm not getting into that, because all the genius by and large have the experiences within the body. When they talk about it, world doesn't, and they, instead of them being accepted, they are given drugs and their creativity is killed. But luckily I was a medical doctor. I was not under something else. I was not influenced by somebody else. I was leading a perfectly healthy, wealthy, wise, happy life otherwise. Very successful doctor, very successful industrialist, very successful in every way. I was one of the perfect human beings from every side. So nobody had the guts to tell me because I was not depending on anybody else. So as a result, I left it. But this became a turning point in converting my symbols to a higher level over a period. That is the beauty of understanding. But this was real experience of Shunya. This is how the starting of mathematics started within me. And then how I moved on to other things. This was 92 and that was 97. This is 0. Now I'm going to talk about mathematical design of the nature, why symbols are very, very important. I did talk about Yantra Vidya also, but I'm talking about mathematics because unless until you understand divine mathematics, you will not be able to lay foundation for impeccable wisdom thereafter. There is a temple in Ayodhya of Ram Janmabhoomi. When government Supreme Court allowed all the debris from bottom to be taken out, this was one of the shilas, statues, stone statues which came out. And when organizers found this organization, they put it on paper and asked people to how the inner circle 13 and outer 29 were designed when they are prime numbers, and out of 360 how did they divide, and that idea was put. they put it as 8,000 years back. But I go on record to say this was designed by Maharishi Yajnavalkya 5,000 years ago, not 800 years ago. This was done during the period of Ramayana, when Rama was there, and Yajnavalkya was already there before Rama was born. So Janmabhoomi had this concept from the very beginning. So I give this credit to this, to give it to Maharishi Yajnavalkya. I'm being very precise because that's what my Atma has told me. This was designed by him 5,000 years ago. Now, given this particular picture, it was made public by journals also very well. As you can see in this particular thing, India Today is one of the journals, you can call it journalism, and they said this is a proof that the Ayodhya was a mandir, was not something other structures. Let's not get into that. And Seer said this is what proves that it was a temple and temple only. But let me tell you, it was found, but none of them could find the real beauty of this particular symbolic representation, which is full of mathematical wonder. Since I'm talking about GANIT VIDYA, so this has to be complete to bring DIVYANK in symbolic form for the world to understand that we started from zero. And this is also, I'm going to show how it also started from zero. Let's move on. As I told you, this is the information which I have given. I also told you it was there. But answers of the question which was raised by the people could have been easily given as the Stapta Brahmana, which Yajnavalkya talked about it way back 5,000 years ago. With the help of rope and stone itself, we can calculate that. He knew it very well. He had talked about it. He has actually shown in this particular thing. No wonder Stapna Brahmana could have given the answer by any mathematician, architect or engineer itself. But unfortunately, Indians, instead of understanding Ved, Upanishads and Indian scriptures, we have following the man-made concepts. Now I will not call it Western. Now I call it entire science is talking about something throughout the world as one unit. Started by them but followed by the entire world. Now what is then? We are following that, where Indians are also included in the including Ramanujam. From that point, Stapna Brahmana was done. We could even look at the Vedic mathematics, look at the divine mathematics, which Indians were very good at it. I have been very good ever since my childhood. Before the mathematical question is complete, I would have the answer. And people would say, how do you know the answer? Well, I just know the answer. I did not know how to explain, and I'm glad that I took up the medical profession, not into abstract mathematics, which would have killed me completely. I'm glad. Now come to Stapna Parimana. As I told you, it was made by Yajnavalkya, who had a description of Shukla Yajurveda to Brihad Upanishad as such. And he talked about symbols, rituals, mythology, etc. And his emphasis was more into pi, which is 22 by 7. And Pythagorean theorem was started by him 5,000 years ago in India itself. Ancient Indian science of geometry, particularly Dasavatar of Matsya, Kurma, Vara, Nasima and Vamana, they are based on Stapna Brahmana only. And second 5 are the Indian anatomy, physiology, biochemistry and psychology, etc. So he has given the knowledge of Stapna Brahmana, which was known, with that could have been calculated. Now come to the question of second thing. Now why I come to the play to show what my Atma told me. That is recorded thing. Now I am talking about how my Atma gave me the wisdom of this particular thing. In that, my Atma's thing is, please look at the center which is 0. So I look at the center which is 0, which represents 0, dot, and I call it Surya. And Surya, by and large, my Atma comes from Surya. Helium 4, which I am talking at Antaratma, comes from Sun's core of 6,000 degrees centigrade, where hydrogen converted to helium 4 and helium 4 to hydrogen. The cycle of hydrogen and helium is beautiful in proton-proton. I have already explained. But that is Sun and that is 0. That is a dot, which is representation by and large. So Now you understand that center part is Surya, is zero, is where my Atma and Paramatma all come from. Now you see it is surrounded by 7 dots. It shows that importance of 7 was given in this particular symbol from the very beginning itself. It is something which made me realize, no wonder Surya is riding a chariot which has 7 horses. It's not the Krishna which is rising on 5 horses, but Surya is 7. That means Surya light is made of 7 called Vivigyar. There are 7 horses, and that is what it is all about. It's everything gets converted to 7 part, one center is expanded. That was a great knowledge by my Antaratma to tell me, this is Surya, this is Shunya, this is where it started, and 7 are horses, because everything is going to get converted to 7. Now you look at the beauty of it. 1 to 7 is the core of the universal physical structure itself. Bhumi is made of 7 parts, Atal to Patal. Antariksh is made of 7 parts, and so are 7 heavens, so are the 7 days, so are the 7 colors, so are 7 horses. Amazing. And that is what I showed you in my picture of Vigyan Chakra also. It was the 1 by 7 which was shown, and that's it. Now we come to the third level in this particular thing. You see that inner there are 13 circles. Agree. That could have been easily made, let's not get into that. But actually there is a hidden mathematical design in this. You have 5 plus 8 I have brought. 13 is not as such, it's 5 plus 8. And that is DIVYANK ratio. You come from DIVYANK ratio. You have the same thing in 5:6 sequence. You can also see that in golden ratio. This is a basic number of 5 and 8 equivalent to 3, and that is what nature also designed. You are going to see as we go to see the divine mathematics play in our superconscious mind. Then come to the outer 29 layers. At the 29 layer, if the center is Surya, the light of Surya which expands, the one which reflects that light is moon, and that is what it is outside. Sun is going, giving 7, then talking is moving, then going to the moon is going to give the reflection of that. So that way I do see sun and moon as fantastic combination, because sun produces light, moon reflects, and on Purnima day we have light throughout the day, and during Amavasya we have light of sun in the daytime, not at night. And as a wonder, during Amavasya and Purnima you have tides in the ocean and also the human body, and it's primarily because of sodium chloride in water content, which plays important. Water content has been 61 point, and sodium and chloride combination is also with DIVYANK ratio only. So what a beautiful part. Now you have seen the design in atoms, elements, molecules, and thereafter also. And also the description which modern science says, what is atom, what is ion, how atomic it becomes. That is all we have to know one by one. We are going to explain, since subject which cannot be denied by anybody else. Now you see, now in 29, I have seen it start from 3, then 5, then 8, and 13 equivalent to 29. And I do know lunar calendar or moon calendar is made for 29.5 days. But they have brought it to 29. You can see the DIVYANK sequence. You can have 5 or 6 sequence. It's a 3, 5, 8 is also the same DIVYANK ratio. But it's also representation. This is what Yajnavalkya had done that and gave it to the world. Did anyone in the world other than Shiv Bhushan Sharma see this beauty? No. The fact is, you have to be in tune with the universal consciousness to see the beauty of universal consciousness as it is. This is one beautiful example. And also this particular thing made me realize the beauty of female menstrual cycle beautifully thereafter. Now you can see in this particular picture the core is 1 plus 7 is 8, 5 plus 8 is 13, 3 plus 5 is 29, and that is what called Misra, which Pingala talked about it 2500 years ago itself. which Fibonacci called it in 1202 only, but he called it Indian origin. That is one thing. Now I am going to take it to the next layer. As I told you, I realized that it reflects, menstrual cycle reflects the divine design of menstrual sun and moon combination on the human body. And ascending and descending moon's part, you can see, is 29.5 days, and the sequence is also in the same form. And you can see Fibonacci sequence, you can see Fibonacci sequence, or you can call it even DIVYANK sequence. Let's move on to the next one. Now I am going to show another challenging aspect which single-handedly Shiv Bhushan Sharma has challenged the entire world. Whatever is taught in the name of female menstrual cycle throughout the world is defective. They are talking of only 3 phases. Bleeding phase 5 days, proliferation 8 days, then ovulation and 13 days of secretion. That is taught. But that does not complete the circle, because we don't even know when actually female menstrual cycle actually starts. It starts 3 days before that, and that is what I am going to repeat it. It starts 3 days before, when you start a phase of cohort of 10 hertz and follicular stimulating GnRH. All that is something which has been missed by everyone in the world except Shiv Bhushan Sharma. So that particular symbol, that particular moon, and this particular has brought to the world an impeccable wisdom of female menstrual cycle for the first time in the history of mankind, after DIVYANK only. And even today it's taught 5, 8 and 13 only, but it is not true. It is 3 days before 5, then 5 days after that, then 8 days thereafter, then there is ovulation, and then you have a proliferation 8, then you have 5 days of corpus luteum, and then ascending and descending phases you can see very clearly. I would like you to go and see procreation to see in detail. Now come to another symbol which is a great work of humankind, which I give credit to Vidyaranya, and he is the one who made this. And in this you will see the inner triangles which are going up are 21 triangles, where the center one, which is moving as such, I have put it as a moving up, because evolution 21. But when you come to the going down, it's 22. That also shows that inner part of 22 by 21 in this is beautiful part. But whole Yajnavalkya's concept, Vidyaranya's concept and Sri Chakra's concept has beautiful cosmic consciousness of Vastu Shastra involved in outside otherwise. Now, Adi Prashakti, I am going to now talk about mathematics, another design. The Adi Prashakti's picture, as you can see, is with 18 arms. So you can see organ 14 has 18 elements. Now, this particular symbol of dancing Shiva is with 18 lights. Is that coincidence? No. It is a fact which was recognized long back. Even symbolic, we should have representation of that nature. Then comes to the periodic table. You can see there are 18 groups and 7 periods. Is that coincidence? No. This also shows that ancient Indian wisdom and modern science were always in par with. But people did not see. I am seeing it and showing it. Now comes the Lord Brahma, is made of 22 by 7, the pi. Or you can say 22 by 21 is the first stage of creation, is something I realized from this particular picture. Now this picture of Dasavatar made me realize there are 10 stages of development, and I see the 10 stages here. And same thing which Yajnavalkya also spoke about, I am also talking about. But only thing is, instead of Buddha, I have brought it Balram, because Buddha does not fit into Vishnu avatar. Let it be that way. Then I had to complete it with the DIVYANK. With the help of my friend, Professor Govindarajulu, we sat on IBM SPS version 22. Since I had already worked out the number of 1.618034, it was easy for me and him to sit together to work it out, to find the 5 digits as 0.34419, which also adds up to 21. That completed the DIVYANK for the first time in the history of mankind in 2014 and 2015. It was published as DIVYANK, the Divine Constant, in 2015. That is a mark established. 2014 to 2015 is landmark for this DIVYANK to become to the world as such. Then comes the question of Fibonacci sequence. I have already said this is a beautiful number that starts from 0, and it was called Misrauchu by Pingala. And I will not go into detail. What is the sense in that is the ratio of golden ratio is 1.61. Then come to this particular picture of Fibonacci, which is golden ratio is a number as such. Not go into detail of this. But now the golden ratio, but man-made design is that this particular number which is given, so one value which is given is 1.618. That's one part. It is too small to be precise and concise. Let's not worry about it. But mathematicians of the world have found that this is deficient, so they found a man-made mathematics of 1 plus square root of 5 divided by 2, you can see at the bottom, and the number of infinite digits which are created is highly confusing, cannot be applied, understood by anything. So that is another mistake which modern science have done, giving this number. So you're calling an infinity number which are defective by and large. But I do know DIVYANK range of 1.61 is perfect. The ratio of 38.1966 equivalent to this, 38.196 is 100, and of course square of the second one is 100 times the value of the second one. This is a unique part in DIVYANK ratio. Then comes to the question DIVYANK sequence and symbol. You can see in this particular thing I have shown also the sequence form in the symbolic representation from this with the colors. Then concept of infinity came up, and I would say infinity, you can say pi, you can say 5, you can 7, 1/3, etc. Leading towards that is something which we will talk in detail at a later date. Then infinity, I do know it is not the number which other world had talked about it in the infinite number of digits, or what Ramanujan talked about it. That's correct up to 100 and 200. Beyond that it fails. But the real number, Ananta, is 61.8034, which is part of DIVYANK, which will never end. I have explained that. We will explain that at a later when we start the series. Then 5 is another example of infinity which is given as a pi. The number which world is calling it is 3.141592, etc. But that is not true. But Akhand Sutras makes it clear. It is 3.142857, and then same continuation 12587 is much better, and I am glad to put it on record. Even Chinese has given this particular number very clearly long back. And now they come to the end of this particular thing. I think by and large all the prediction is present in this, and I think once that is understood and once we start Sindhu Akhand Sutra, things will be much clearer. Thank you very much.